Morality is a subject that concerns us all. It is an important and extremely complex aspect of the human experience. So, as a concept, it is often debated in philosophy, and there are differing perspectives that can be taken when it comes to morality, and in fact an almost infinite number of different perspectives can be taken on morality. But the most sort of commonly cited schools of thought when it comes to morality are Objectivism, Relativism, and within relativism you have Subjectivism and cultural relativism. And we also have Emotivism. That was a difficult word to say. And each of these different schools of thought provides quite distinct interpretations on what morality is and how it should be understood. So I thought it would be a good idea to have a quick run through of them, because before you get into the sort of deep questions of morality, you need to understand the perspective that you're taking. I thought we'd go right back to basics and we'll get into it. So we'll start with Objectivism. Objectivism posits that moral truth exists independently of human belief and emotions. According to this particular point of view, certain actions are intrinsically right or wrong, regardless of individual or societal opinions. Within this school of thought, morality is based on objective facts about human nature and the world. These facts can be discovered through reason and are, in theory at least, universally applicable. There is a well-known philosophy. I'm so terrible with names. Something Rand. It will come to me after I finish recording this video, but whatever. Anyway, she argues that the rational self-interest and pursuit of an individual's happiness is the highest moral purpose. So compared to the other perspectives which I'm about to go through, Objectivism asserts a fixed and universal set of moral principles in stark contrast to the flexibility seen within relativism and subjectivism. It imposes the idea that moral truths are dependent on cultural or personal views, unlike cultural relativism and subjectivism. So relativism, our next one, which is somewhat of an umbrella term, but there's a base for it, and then we will get into subjectivism. Hello, sorry, my cat's just come for a visit. Then we'll get into subjectivism and cultural relativism. So relativism holds that moral principles are not universal, but are in fact relative to the norms, values, and beliefs of an individual or a culture. According to the relativists, what is considered morally right or wrong can vary from one society to another, or from one person to another. There is no, within this school of thought, there is no objective standard for judging the morality of different cultures or individuals. Relativism is much more flexible than objectivism, allowing for a diversity of moral perspectives and practices. It contrasts quite sharply with objectivism's universality and fixed moral truths, aligning more closely with cultural relativism in acknowledging the variability of moral norms. So then we have subjectivism. Subjectivism asserts that moral judgments are statements of an individual's feelings, attitudes, or preferences, personal preferences. According to the subjectivist view, an action is morally right if the individual approves of it, and morally wrong if the individual disapproves. There are, within this school of thought, there are no objective moral truths, none at all, such is the nature of subjectivism. The only thing that exists in within subjectivism is a person's personal beliefs and opinions. So like relativism, subjectivism rejects the notion of universal moral truths, but it focuses on the individual rather than the cultural variations. It stands in contrast to objectivism's claim of independent moral facts and to cultural relativism's emphasis on societal norms. So cultural relativism cultural relativism argues that moral standards and values are rooted and bound to specific cultural contexts. What is considered morally right or wrong depends on the cultural practices and the beliefs of the particular society. Cultural relativism emphasizes understanding and tolerance of cultural differences in moral practices. Cultural relativism shares the flexibility of relativism and subjectivism, but locates moral variability in cultural contexts rather than an individual's preferences. It differs drastically from objectivism's and even subjectivism's individual focus by stressing collective cultural norms. And then we have emotivism. Emotivism is the view that moral statements are expressions of emotional responses or attitudes rather than assertions of factual claims. According to emotivists, saying X is wrong is equivalent to expressing disapproval of X rather than stating an objective fact. It treats moral language. Sorry, I'm stuttering loads today. It treats moral language as a tool for influencing others' attitudes and behaviours rather than describing an objective reality. Emotivism aligns with subjectivism in denying objective moral truths, but focuses on the emotive and persuasive function of moral language. Unlike objectivism, it does not seek universal moral principles, and it diverges from cultural relativism by not attributing moral values to cultural norms, but to emotional expressions. So now those are the sort of most commonly sort of used and defined schools of thought when it comes to morality. And as it stands, there is no correct answer that we know of. There's no end in sight to the debate at all, not anytime soon, at least. Each school of thought has its merits, but they each have their problems too. And in some capacity, there is a lot of overlap between them, and there are a lot of differences between them. So there isn't any one sort of clear winner per se. Objectivism, I'll try that again. Objectivism insists on universal objective moral truths, contrasting with the variability accepted by relativism, subjectivism, cultural relativism, and emotivism. Relativism and cultural relativism accept the diversity of moral practices but differ in scope, with the former focusing on individual or cultural differences and the latter emphasising cultural contexts. Subjectivism bases morality on individual preferences and beliefs, contrasting with the collective focus of cultural relativism. Emotivism sees moral statements as emotional expressions, aligning with subjectivism in its rejection of objective morality, but differing in its emphasis on the emotive and persuasive aspects of moral language. So an argument could be made that they are all correct and all incorrect. I know that's a bit of a Schrodinger's cat kind of answer to it, but it is something that, at least right now, is impossible for us to actually definitively say this is correct, that objectivism is correct, or subjectivism is correct, or whatever. So the debate continues, but as the debate continues, more and more ideas are being pulled out and examined and worked through, and as a result, while the answer or the sort of conclusion may never be reached that this particular sort of brand, as it were, this school of thought around morality is the correct one, the fact that the conversation continues means that our morality as a species continues to evolve, and we continue to increase the depth of our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. So while there may never be an outright winner, this is not the Royal Rumble, we are not in the WWE. So a winner is a moot point, it's irrelevant. The important thing is that the discussions around morality continue, because the more we discuss morality, the closer we get to understanding our morality and the principles that guide that morality for us as individuals and for us as a collective, as communities, as nations, as a species. So before I close and end, I have a question for you. Something for you to ponder. You can get in the comments and let me know, or you don't have to, but it would be good if you did. But the important thing is that you think about it. So think about the last time you had to make a moral decision, a moral choice. When you made that decision, was the invasion of the cat again. When you made that decision, did you view the moral component of that decision-making process as being objective, subjective, relativistic, culturally relativistic, or emotive? Beyond, which particular school of thought do you think that your decision-making process was aligned with, what impact on your decision-making process did that that set of prerequisites, those presuppositions, that which school of thought did you pick, what impact did that have on your both on the actual making the decision, but also afterwards when you look back on that situation and were able to view the results of that decision. What impact does your stance on morality have on the decision and the results? So I'd love to know. So if you could jump in the comments, but you know, you also don't have to. The idea here isn't about having something witty to say in the comments. It is about having spending some time thinking about these things, because philosophy is at its core all about thinking, or more accurately, it is the activity of deciding which way of thinking about something is the best way. So yeah, jump in the comments, let me know. And if you would like any sort of specific videos in the future about any specific topics, also let me know. That would be great too, because then I can make something that is relevant specifically to you. But yeah, have a good day, and I look forward to seeing your responses.